Well, YouTube, has been a while since we made a video on anything, but in the meantime, we've had a cylinder blowout on our track hoe here. We're gonna have to see what we can do on it, get it fixed. As you can see, our wiper seal's completely turned loose to come out. We losing a little bit of oil every time we use it. We just been getting by with it. We got the seal kit for it. It's come in. We ordered it offline. About 30 bucks. Shouldn't take us about an hour to tear this thing down and get her repacked and get her back going. So we'll see where we go from here. All right. Shouldn't be too difficult to get this off here. That nut's already loose. It's probably not a good thing. All right, grab us a 716. Gonna be metric, probably a 14 millimeter. Might need to grab two of them. Just grab us a...
Where's our big punch at?
So what?
I said, where's the big punch at?
Probably in the truck.
Oh. Where'd you put that other nut?
On the back of the truck. Well, 15/16 is a touch too big. Hit somebody. Probably me. Gotta be one. Well, that's way too big. Oh, 27. I thought I grabbed a 21. Well, hey. Yep. Here we go. We should put something down to catch that oil. Alright, this is what most people, watch this on, I don't want to get this on, have problems getting this gland out. You need a big spanner with it. This is a 0-474A made by Williams. Pretty nice set here I got. Might need a hammer, but
any nears?
Ball peen if we got it. Look at the truck there in the ball peen truck. May even just use a pipe on it.
Ball peen.
Times if you'll shock these a little bit instead of putting constant pressure on, to make them break loose a little easier. May have to put a pipe on this one. Let's see. Find us a cheater pipe, though. Yeah, cheater pipe. Cheater pipe time. Here at the pen driver will work. No, it won't. Well. Grab that piece of exhaust pipe sitting there. Just anything to grab it. If this don't work, I got another way of getting it. That thing is tight. I'm gonna grab that pipe and help a little. Hold it. Alright. Gentle. Oh. Grab it. Alright, sometimes these things get moisture in these threads and build up a little rust. You can't get them loose. But if you can shock it with like an air hammer, 9 times out of 10 it'll go ahead and break loose. But I have had to take a torch and heat around to make it expand and break rust and stuff loose. Not on this cylinder, but on other cylinders in the past. We're gonna try it with an air hammer here and see how this works. Maybe it'll go ahead and break her loose. Well, I got lucky I didn't hit that cylinder, that rod. Alright, she broke loose. Let's try her with a spanner again. Just over here at the side in case we have to have it. Oh yeah, she's coming now. Needed that little bit of help to break loose. Never want to force these too much in case there's something built up in it. You gall these threads and then you got a mess. Machine shop trip at that point. Make a mess. Nasty. Oh, she's a gusher. She gonna shoot all over me. There she goes. All right. It was a little worn on. Be expected. Alright, once you got your rod and your gland out of your barrel, get it over on the workbench where you can work, fight with a brake clean nozzle. Before you start taking this apart, as you can see, I don't know how well it's going to show up in the camera. there's a grub screw right here, and it's been staked. You see where they took a punch and punched around there to keep that grub screw from backing out. You have to take that out, or it'll tear your threads up on the end of your rod. This right here is, it's like a lock nut, but it's just a keeper to keep this. There's a drilled divot on the rod that this grub screw is going to go into, that you got to back that grub screw out, or like I say, you'll damage your rod. Be like a 3 or 4 millimeter. I'll tell you pretty quick here. Just the 1/8 inch. I just go ahead, pull this grub screw all the way out, just so I know there's no chances of it hitting anything. "94 degrees out here right now." There's your grub screw. Alright, put this over here on the paper towel where I can lose it later. Just go make sure we ain't got another grub screw. Sometimes they'll stack them, jam them together to keep them from backing out. That's not the case on this one. Alright, so there's your piston in all its glory. If you look right here on this shaft, you can see where that grub screw went in and bit into it. Alright, we'll clean all these threads and stuff up here in a minute. I'll go ahead and take this gland off. There she goes. Now we have the gland out. Your little bushing that goes in. This stays on your rod typically, but she decided to come with us. We'll set all that over to the side out of the way. Thing moves pretty good. Split ring. Alright, if you notice, it's a little darker than it was earlier. We're in our local volunteer fire department. We just got paged out for a 3-car 1050. Luckily, nobody was too terribly hurt. We did transport 3. So now, getting back to the nitty-gritty on this. This is your piston. And these are wear bands right here. They're just split. Some of the older cylinders or whatever will be solid on here. You just really, unless these are broke or damaged, you don't have to worry about replacing them. Just clean them up real good and inspect them. Make sure you don't have any obvious signs of damage on them. Just give them a good wipe down. We'll set these over to the side. Alright, this right here is your actual piston seal. I know it looks flat here, but once you get pressure on this, it makes this expand and it goes against the barrel and it seals off. And this is a double-sided because it's a double-acting cylinder. In other words, it has a lip on this side as well as a lip on this side right here. We'll get this over here and clean this all up and get this seal removed, and I'll show you more about what the seal looks like when we get to that part. Well, she don't come off one piece, maybe. Get past that little part. Alright, you see how you have the little lip on it there and the little lip on it there? That, with this O-ring, is all that seals your piston. These two pieces go together just like this right here. Just a very fine little lip right there on that seal. I'll set them over out of the way. All right. Now, this is your gland. The wiper seal should be in this bore here, but ours has come out. All right, so on this gland, this is designed to meter how slow or how fast that cylinder can go down. These are kind of a check in case you're picking up something heavy and you blow a hydraulic line, it won't just instantly slam down to the ground. It meters out. So you've got this passage here, and this passage here are your two. When you start going down, this is where your fluid returns through to your barrel, and it sends everything back down to the other end. Because on this particular one, where your typical hydraulic cylinder will have a fitting at one end and then another fitting at the other end, on these excavators, both fittings are at the same end to protect it from, you know, damage or whatever, and also on that main boom to restrict the flow going back in where it doesn't slam down. So one thing you want to pay attention to when you're doing this, if you notice, here's the O-ring and then a backing ring. Your O-ring, when you're rebuilding a cylinder, the O-ring always goes towards the pressure. And if you have a setup on a piston or whatever that has O-rings and a backing ring, most times you'll have an O-ring and a backing ring. But if you look at the backing ring, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there's like a convex side. It's going to go towards the O-ring. So the O-ring's to the pressure, the convex side to the O-ring, away from the pressure. All right, you've got this set right here. I try to keep everything together as I'm pulling them apart. And you notice I have another set that's set up the exact same way. O-ring and a backing ring. Convex side to the O-ring, O-ring to the pressure. Then you have one O-ring left. This is what seals where your threads are to your barrel. And there's no backing ring for this, just the O-ring, because it shouldn't have any pressure. Anytime you have an O-ring that's got pressure, you'll have a backing ring. If it doesn't, it shouldn't have any pressure on it. This is just for keeping the elements out. That's all to the outside of this gland that you're gonna have. Now, on the inside, we have your actual pressure seal. These could be a booger to get out sometimes. I'm gonna try to get this one out in one piece, but I doubt it's gonna happen. Yep, she busted on us, but look at here. We got her out. That's all I care about. All right. Now, I know I tore this sail up pretty good getting it out of here, because they are a booger to get in and a booger to get out. Look here, it has some cracking in it. I don't think I did that. I think that was already cracked, which is part of a reason why we're we were leaking. You can see this seal has done got cracked, and heat cycles, hydraulic oil heating up, cooling off, it'll just take a toll on rubber. If you notice, this has a groove in it going around this way on this side, and on this side it's flat. Then it has your number here. This is your rod diameter, this is your gland diameter. So if you didn't have the kit, you could take this to your local hydraulic shop, and they could take and get these numbers off these seals and O-rings, and they can build you a kit. We don't have a hydraulic shop close here, but I do have a book. I can reference everything and order what I need offline by measuring the seals. But I try, if I can, to get a complete set. I found a website that I buy these seals and stuff from. It's called HW Parts. I'm not affiliated with this site. I've just, ever since buying this machine and doing the maintenance and keeping up with it, I found this site, and I've been purchasing my stuff from them. Like I said, it's got a complete kit, and if you notice, they update the backing rings and everything from this black to like a UHMW style. That's what I would call it. But that's your manufacturer's part number. Like I said, this seal kit, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I want to say it's less than 50 bucks for your seal kit. And they have a diagram on the website, so you make sure that you're getting the exact kit for your machine. And there's a serial number break in these machines. Your TB135, which is the machine we have, the last year of it is 2006, I believe, which is the year model that I have. And I believe in 2007 they go to the 2 series from the 1 series. I'm not 100% certain, but I do believe that the cylinders and the seal kits will interchange. Alright, new seal. These are a bear to get installed unless you have the correct tool. This is a set of tools I bought from Fox Tools. So they even sometimes difficult with these. So you have this restrictor like I was talking about earlier, and you go to put this wiper seal or the main gland seal in. You take this is like a taper lock, kind of like on a valve or whatever. You see you've got this little keeper wire here that holds this together when it's inside the cylinder. You take this loose. Sometimes you get it with your fingers, sometimes you have to use a pick. Take that little wire there loose. You don't have to fully take it off. Then you notice these pieces here are split. 1 and 2. All right, the ring's gonna go with it. So here's your outside part of your gland assembly. Take your seal. You can use the tools if you need to, but typically you just get it started, work it around. All right. There's a little ledge in there that it needs to seat against. Now that we got that, we can take this gland, make sure your wire's up, out of the way. Take your 2 split rings. It's done getting dark on me out here. One side. There's the other side. You take your wire, you bring it back down, groove. Big old horsefly trying to chew on me. All right, now, you notice I got that split right there at that groove. You want to take and move that wire split around to the side, away from that groove, so it's, you know, a little bit more protected there. Kind of like clocking cylinder, you know, your rings on the piston and your cylinder of the engine. Once that's done, that's done. This is your big O-ring. You notice these O-rings are a little bit different size here. Your big one's gonna go all the way down. To the very, very bottom. All right. Now, these really don't feel like they have a conical shape to one side of it. So I guess it really matters which way the backing ring goes on, except we know it has to be away from the pressure.
Why is that important?
Because that's what keeps your O-ring from pushing out of the groove and makes your O-ring seal up. You want to be gentle, you don't want to break these. It's just take your time ordeal and push it down. Alright. Now these are going to stretch out. It's not a big deal. They will pull back to their original size. Take your O-ring, make sure it's good and clean. Work it on gentle. You don't want to cut it.
How did you learn to work on cylinders?
Grew up logging, around heavy equipment my whole life. We didn't have much choice to work on your own stuff, and then I decided I wanted to go to school to be a diesel mechanic. And went to school in asphalt on diesel in East Central Community College. Got out of school, went to work as a diesel mechanic. I kind of studied hydraulics and pneumatics as kind of my focal point. Got out of there and realized everybody and their grandma wanted to be a mechanic, and work was kind of hard to find, so I went to work as a maintenance guy. And I got tired of doing that, seeing everybody else making more money. Decided to go back to school again, and I got my engineering degree and become an electrical engineer. So now I'm an electrical engineer that fools with hydraulics and pneumatics and heavy equipment. Do just about whatever I can come up with to make a dollar. Alright, so that's your gland rebuilt. Like I said, these will These little backup rings will draw back up after you spread them out a little bit. Here's your two new seals. This one, as you see, is tapered on both sides. That way it can go either way. This dude right here is a booger to get on. What you really helps, you take you some oil, some hydraulic oil, put it in the pan, heat it up, and it'll expand out and then it'll contract back once it cools off. Go ahead and take your O-ring. It's gonna be tight. I'll try to keep it from twisting. Right. See how that O-ring seats in there? Make sure it's free to move. Like I said, there again on this, I need to heat this up probably. Sometimes they'll go, sometimes they won't. We're gonna take a chance and hope we don't break it. Slowly work it around. Like I said, it will contract back to where it needs to be. It's just gonna take it a few minutes. Clean rag here. Take your wiper bands. Make sure they're good and clean. And so I don't know that really matters, but I always try to put my splits opposite of each other. Shouldn't, like I say, shouldn't matter, but it may. You know, I've seen it done a bunch of different ways. I'm gonna get a little oil, coat these seals, and then we'll slide them up on the rod. Yes, I'm using engine oil. No, it will not hurt a thing. A lot of your manufacturers like John Deere, Tiger Cat, a few others, Cat, some of their stuff they actually call for 1540 engine oil in their hydraulics. Will not hurt a thing. Just a little persuasion to get her over. Alright, there's no O-ring that goes on this rod. Some will have it, some won't. Pay attention to your cylinder and the way yours is set up. What I'm doing is I'm just marking a reference where I can look at the end of this rod and see where this stake point is. So I know when I start tightening my piston back down that I line up right. Get the light back to cold. All right, so here's my hole for my grub screw, and here is the mark I just made. By jingos, that's perfect. Flip it up here, let them see I ain't joking with them. What do you think? Good enough? Looks good. I always put a little bit of blue Loctite on these grub screws. You don't have to. Your decision. This is my machine and I'd rather it not come loose. Like I said, this is staked from the factory to help prevent it coming out. So once you get past that, it'll ease up, get easier. See how it's gotten easier. And just run it down the rest of the way. Click.
That was a what size?
1/8 inch, I believe, yes. 1/8. All right. We are ready to oil this up and stick her back in. Like I said, you see she's already drawn back in. Got my wear bands 180 out. Everything looks good here. We're gonna throw some fresh oil on everything. There she goes. Take your spanner because it's going to be real tight. Just want to make sure that you don't cross thread. You don't want to force anything. You start screwing it in. You don't have to go stupid tightening these up. A few hits with a hammer, and she's there. I'm gonna push this up. I'll let you kind of pull. There you go. Go slow. Slow. A little bit more. Oh, what you got? There. Alright, so we got her back together. Got the bolt in her. Camera died. Clean everything up. This is just residual oil from where we wiped everything down with oil as we put it back together. We're gonna run her a few cycles, see how she does. Now we'll put all these tools up, go get us a little supper, shower, and hit the bed. Thank y'all for watching.